Hey guys, welcome back to Black Overland. Cheers. First beer of the day. It's it must be about 4 o'clock now, and I am doing a solo trip through the Waterberg in Limpopo province. We're at a place called Marikele right now. It's about 3 hours north of Johannesburg. It's a Monday afternoon, and I thought the place would be quite empty, but there's actually probably about, I don't know, 15 or so other campers here, maybe 10. So it's quite busy for a Monday, which is surprising. It's normally quite a popular stopover on the way to Botswana, but it looks like these are mostly guys coming to camp here. Anyway, I'm doing 2 nights here at Marikele, and then I'm doing 2 nights at another place called Waterberg Wilderness Reserve, a few hours away from here. Marikele has a bit of a special, it's one of my favorites national parks. There's something special about it. It's got an open campsite, so the game, cheers. The game are free to roam through the campsite. That being said, there are no dangerous predators that come through here. It's just mainly plains game. They used to have rhino here, though I'm not too sure whether there's still rhinos around here because of the poaching, and they have relocated them. And I have managed to get myself campsite number 16, which is, let me show you guys, it's quite private. So I've got my truck there. Each campsite has its own little tap. So you got there's a tap, and you got 220 power, so if that's your thing, you can bring 220. Also got rubbish bins, because there are monkeys here. You need to be careful of the monkeys. They're cute, but my god, they're hazards. They will raid anything they can, so just make sure, well, I'm going to make sure that everything's packed away all the time. Anyway, I've got my food in my car, staying in my flip top tent by a front runner again. It's the second time I've used it now, and first time was the other day in the Malutis. Quite happy with it. I've got, this time I bought 2 mattresses because the ground here is so hard. I only managed to get 2 pegs in. It's like rock hard. I bent the rest of the pegs, so I gave that up. I've got my extra blanket and my Coleman because it could get quite cold here. And then each campsite also has its own little braai area. Right. However, they seem to have made them all backwards, because if I want to sit by the fire, the wall kind of blocks it, so I may make the fire on here. Let's see how I feel. Anyway, it's an absolutely beautiful spot. The campsite's in this woodland here. Let me try and give you guys a nice sort of sunset shot here. And at this time of year it's pretty open. The bush has been started to get grazed out now by the game, but yeah, just really quiet. A few other campers are rocking up, but hopefully I'm going to have a nice quiet couple of days here, and yeah, explore the park a little bit and show you guys around. Chill, buddy. What's so upset about? So angry. I wonder if it's because I'm eating biltong. think the rams must be in, what do they call it, rutting season. They seem to be very aggressive with their tails fluffed out. There wasn't much game around at the waterhole, apart from a couple of birds and some impala, but nothing really worth shooting. Anyway, tonight I'm gonna do a lamb chops, and some couscous and some, I think I'm gonna brow roast the peppers and caramelize some onions. Yeah. Near the jackals, and they call them, there's two down there and then there's two over there. And then obviously the impala, I think they're rutting, that's why the males are making such a scene. Just this really special sounds of camping in the bush in Africa that it's just nothing like it. Put it on the fire and then throw that in with couscous and some feta cheese. I'm going to remove the guts out of the green pepper. Should have enough for lunch tomorrow too. For breakfast I am doing these Oats Are Easy sachets, instant porridge basically. Just add hot water. Morning guys. Last night was pretty cold. Glad I had the extra blanket. I don't know, maybe it got down to about 5 degrees or so. Not quite cold enough to cause frost, but still pretty cold when you by yourself in a tent. We had the jackals calling all night long, and the lions going as well. Yeah, quite a lovely evening. So this morning I'm going to eat some breakfast, just waiting for this to settle, and then have a shower and then hit the park. I got my couscous for leftovers for lunch, so we'll take that with, take a few beers and have a nice day out in the park. This is one of those things about Marikana that I just love. Here's a warthog just walking through the campsite, and there's an ostrich around here too. So, that ostrich, a few years back, I was eating a banana, and I was walking maybe a bit too close to the ostrich out of curiosity, and it took a liking to my banana. That thing chased me for about 40 meters across the campsite, and it was absolutely terrifying. So I don't trust those arseholes anymore. They can keep their distance. And I didn't bring any bananas. Marikele is split into two halves. The bottom half, where Bontley campsite is, doesn't have the big five. So there's no lions here. I don't think there's elephants on this side. It's mostly plains game and probably the odd leopard that comes through. They've got jackals, obviously we heard them last night, so I'm not sure about hyena, but I doubt that too. On the other side of the reserve though, which is more the mountainous side, is the big five. So there you've got your buffalo, lion, elephant, rhino, and leopard. But due to the nature of the park, that side is very mountainous, so a lot of it is inaccessible to the public. However, they've recently opened up a new 4x4 guided tour which runs for 2 days, Tuesdays, I think it's Tuesdays to Thursdays and Fridays to Sundays, where you go in your own vehicle with a guided, with a field guide along unexplored parts of the park. So that's something to look out for. It could be a really, really nice trip. You just do wild camping basically out in the mountains. But I'm obviously not here under one of those guided trips. I'm just doing a self-drive around the park, and the chances of seeing lions and the predators are quite slim, just due to the size of the park and how much accessibility us as self-guided or self-drive visitors have. So Marikele is more about the scenery. I mean, the scenery is absolutely magnificent, and just really enjoying being out in the bush. There's a lot of impala, giraffe, and the plains game around, and there's also a very, very large breeding colony of Cape vultures. Who knows if it's the largest? Every colony seems to claim that they've got the largest breeding colony of Cape vultures. But regardless, you go up to the viewpoint and you can see a lot of Cape vultures up there. It's really, really magnificent, and we'll go there a bit later. Right now I'm doing the loop below the campsite, below Bontley campsite, and there's not too much around at the moment, and it's actually surprisingly dry already. I mean, it's mid-May. The rains stopped recently, but it's already, all the grasses and stuff have already all been grazed out, so there's great visibility into the bush, which is really nice. So you can see the animals through the bush, but right now there's not too many animals around. This is the 4x4 only loop on the Shingulu loop or something like that. I don't really know why they say 4x4 only. It's probably because it's only made up of the sand, but the sand is really compacted, and I haven't even dropped my tire pressures down, and there's just no issues. You could get through here in a polo almost. As my mate Warren would say, this is Deborah, the dead zebra. I think a lot of people make the mistake of just being too focused on seeing the big five when they come to a park like this, and they're rushing around trying to see the lions and the leopards and the elephants, and they're ignoring the smaller stuff. Like I've just now spent 20 minutes I switched off the car and I sat with a pack of mongoose. I don't know what the collective noun for mongoose is. Pack, flock, school, whatever. And yeah, just watching them feeding and digging and pulling out grubs out the ground, and that's, for me, I'm fortunate, that gets me excited. I don't need to see the big stuff. And I think if you learn to appreciate the smaller animals around, you just get a lot more satisfaction being in a national park than racing around and trying to see the big five. And you don't see the big five, and then you're left feeling disappointed. In a place like this, the chances of seeing the big predators are not great. So if you can appreciate the smaller stuff, you just get a lot more satisfaction out of being here. Well, I do in any case. So I've just come to the other side of the park. You go through an gate, and it's amazing to see the difference in the bush straight away. It's grassy and there's much less big trees. And I'm not sure whether that's because of elephants or the fact that there's predators here, so there's less plains game. I don't know. If you know, you can drop a comment below. And the roads on this side of the park are pretty poor. Really a lot of corrugation and washout. You don't need four-wheel drive, but maybe a high clearance vehicle would be more comfortable than a sedan. But the scenery is wonderful. Start like climbing up the valley towards the lookout point, and beautiful big red mountains around with cliff faces. It's quite wonderful. It's how the landscape just changes from being flat, like sand forest, to this incredible mountainous, like a mixture of mountain and savanna. It's really, really beautiful. Quite a climb up to the viewpoint along this little narrow road, and you will likely encounter cars coming in the other direction. So every 100 meters or so they've got a little pull-off where you can get out the way to let the other car past. And yeah, it's quite a steep climb. I mean, we are going to go up a few hundred meters in elevation to get to the top, but it's really, really scenic. Again, the landscape's changing now. It's becoming more of this green woodland mixture of proteas and other evergreen trees. I don't know the types of trees because I'm not a botanist, but they are pretty. You just have to see this view. Wow. Look at that, it looks like it's the ocean. That out there, that hazy bit there, is just flat savanna all the way to Botswana. If you look up to the left there, you can see there's the road that we're going to be taking up. It just cuts straight up the mountain. these guys are they're basically like little goats in antelope form. They've got adaptations to make them really suitable for living in rocks and on steep surfaces. So they're very agile footed, and they're normally very skittish, so I'm quite surprised that one let us get so close to it. This is now getting quite steep up the pass, and I think it's more hairy on the way down because then the driver's side is on the cliff face side, but for me right now it's not bad. So I'm leaving the top now. Spent a bit longer than I expected to up here, so I'm probably not going to have time to do the 4x4 loop that heads to the east. Not today in any case. Yeah, it's just it's amazing how cold it is up here. It's I mean, we are, according to Google Maps, we are 2,040 meters above sea level at the summit, so it's pretty high. And it's so high in fact that there's yellowwoods growing up here, which I find amazing because you normally only get them in the Cape and the Drakensberg, not this far north, which just shows the different climate here. They've got an information board at the top there that actually gives a little bit of history on the national park, which was founded in 1981, I think it was, and then no, it was found, no, 1991 it was founded. And they also talk about the vultures, and they clarify the size of the colony. So at one point it was up to 1,000 breeding pairs in the 80s. But they say that was during a drought period, and a drought period apparently is actually better for the vultures because there's more carcasses and stuff lying around for them to eat. And over the years it's gone down. I think it went down to almost halved, and right now it's at about 650. And that actually swaps between Blouberg Nature Reserve, which we went to last year. You can check that video here, and here, because they've got the Blouberg's a few hundred kilometers away, and sometimes that population is bigger than this population. But now I've also been down to Msukaba in the Eastern Cape, which is really, really beautiful valley in the wild coast, and there's also a colony there, and the guide told me that was also the largest colony. So I'm not too sure how big that one is, and whether it also in some years maybe exceeds these breeding colonies in size or not. But at one stage, or currently, or in the near future, this will be the largest breeding colony of Cape vultures, which is quite a cool claim to fame. Unfortunately, the vulture colonies are quite severely affected by pesticides and poisoning. Poisoning happens quite often, unfortunately, and these can have massive effects on the populations, and they are endangered. So it's important that places like this, where they breed freely, are continue to be protected. It's that beautiful afternoon light now between the trees. It'd be so nice if I could just set a camera up and do some passing driving shots. But in South Africa, you're not allowed to get out of your car in the parks, and there's a good reason for that. it's because of the threat of animals, especially in thick bush like this. You don't know where the animals are hiding. And there's 2 stories of attacks here. The one was actually this year, 2 months ago. Very sadly, a field ranger was patrolling and trying to find some cheetah. Got out of his vehicle, wasn't 20 meters from his car, following the cheetah tracks, and 2 young male lions attacked him. They were apparently, he walked into them, they were sleeping under a bush, and unfortunately he passed away. So that's on the other side where you do get lion, so you definitely don't get out your car on that side. But even on this side, we definitely leopard that come and go. And there's a storyboard up at the top of the viewpoint where I was earlier today about a young shepherd who in 1981, I think it was, came across one of his calves being attacked by a leopard. The leopard took exception to the interruption and mauled him for 15 minutes. Can you imagine being mauled by a leopard for 15 minutes? Those things are vicious. He actually survived, and took him 2 months to recover in hospital. But yeah, 3 good reasons for me there. 1, you shouldn't, and it's against the rules. And 2 recent attacks, or 2 attacks, one specifically very recently, which means I'm not getting out my car to set up a camera. So the shots are of my ugly mug, or of the bush while we're moving. So I hope that you enjoy that photography. Great day out. Made it back in time to have a beer before the sun goes down. Oh. And I thought, well, let me use the pegs that I can't get into the ground. So these are my new kebab skewers. I'm going to basically make 2 kebabs that are Prego Portuguese inspired. And by that I mean they're going to be spicy with some Prego sauce. So I'm just going to cut the chicken breasts into thirds, and then I've got a red pepper that's unfortunately frozen in my fridge, which is set at -6, so the veggies that are in the section too close to that element got a little bit frozen. Anyway, so I'm going to put red pepper and mushroom and a little bit of chorizo and chicken all skewered together. Okay, so I want to cut some nice fat pieces of chorizo, and these, when they brown, should get nice and crispy and release all that fat that they've got in them. cut another one for good measure. Right, so I don't know how successful it's going to be. Push the peg through the chicken, through the pepper, chorizo, mushroom, and repeat. I'm really not sure how Portuguese mealies are, but there is a Portuguese inspired braai, and I love fried mealies. So it looks like it turned out alright, considering I've never tried this before. So let's cut these off. To know that you can use a peg as a kebab. Seems to work well. And I'm going to top that off with a little bit of mayonnaise. Oh, that chorizo looks amazing. They make it look so easy. Yes. Just flip it over and tuck it in, and then it will be all done. Morning, how's it? Any idea how to pack this up? Let's see, the whole thing is collapsed like this. It's weird, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like that? Oh, yes, legend.
But if you pass me this bag. Oh, that's cool.
This back. Yeah, please. Had a fantastic 2 nights here at Marikele, and it's a bit later than I wanted to leave because it took me about 7 days to put that tent down. But yeah, now we're gonna do a trip along the mountain range to Waterberg Wilderness area, and I will end off this episode here, and I'll see you guys next time on Black Overland. If you like this video, hit the like button, remember to subscribe, hit that notification button, and I'll check you guys next time. Cheers.